Right now, there are dozens of places in Madison where you can get registered to vote today. We'll show you how. And we're learning President Trump withheld military aid from the Ukraine before reassuring its leader to investigate Joe Biden and his son.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
And I'm Mark Kane. We start with breaking news into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. The Sauk County Sheriff's Department has released the name of a homicide victim. 37-year-old Christopher Little's body was found on a rural, heavily wooded road in the town of Fairfield on Sunday. He is from Westfield in Marquette County. An autopsy yesterday ruled the death a homicide, but Sheriff Chip Meister said it was too early in the investigation to tell how he was killed or how long the body had been there. Turning to weather now, sunshine today, but storm chances return tonight. Chris Reese is over in the Weather Center. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Mark. It's another beautiful day with plenty of sunshine outside. Lots of blue in the sky out there, so that's certainly fantastic. Here's a live look from our station sky camera looking towards the east. Yes, there are no showers or thunderstorms over the state right now, but that could change later on. There's a severe weather risk, especially throughout the north and western half of the state. It starts to fall off once you get towards Madison. That's all due to timing. The timing of the showers and thunderstorms should likely be around midnight or later. So at that point, a lot of the ingredients for the strong to severe storms, those will be long gone, but they are certainly in place as you work your way towards the north and west. Keep that in mind if you're going to be headed up that direction. Here is the cloud cover moving in from the north and west. You see that front bringing some showers throughout parts of Minnesota. We're going to be watching that very closely going through the next couple of hours. In the meantime, enjoy the sunshine. The temperature 75 degrees right now. Winds coming out of the south and west at 8 miles per hour. That's going to allow us to stay very warm today, Mark. So look for those temperatures topping out into the upper 70s. But there are some fall-like cool downs on the way. I'll be talking about those in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Chris. Today is National Voter Registration Day. Hundreds of volunteers are running 30 pop-up registration locations across Madison today. You need to register to vote if your address has changed since the last time you voted. You'll need to bring a proof of residence, like a utility bill, from the last 90 days. While Wisconsin's next election day isn't until February of 2020, officials expect voter registration stations to be busy today.
The trends we've seen the past few years is that every single election we seem to be setting a record for voter turnout, and we haven't seen any reason to think that that trend won't continue.
You can register to vote online as well at myvote.wi.gov if you have a Wisconsin driver's license or ID and the address is current. You can find pop-up registration locations on channel3000.com. A woman from northeastern Wisconsin has been charged with hiding her mother's corpse. 60-year-old Paula Burgold allegedly put her mother's body in a container covered in plastic in the basement of her home in the town of Peshtigo. A neighbor called to report that he hadn't seen the mother since May. Burgold allegedly told police her mother died in a chair and she couldn't bring herself to call police. She'd been living off her mother's Social Security and investments for months. In western Wisconsin, a 15-year-old girl is missing from Crawford County. The Prairie du Chien Police Department posted Amber Jean Meng's photo on Facebook asking for help finding her. She was last seen yesterday around 5:30 p.m. Officials say she may be in the company of an adult male, and there's a possibility she could be traveling to Missouri or Colorado. An inmate is allegedly confessing to the murder of Teresa Halbach, and it's not Stephen Avery or Brendan Dassey. According to the director of an upcoming documentary about the case, an inmate confessed to the film crew during an interview. That director, Sean Resch, told Newsweek that they have not confirmed the legitimacy of the confession, but calls the inmate in question a notable convicted murderer in Wisconsin. More than 20 world leaders are taking the stage at the United Nations today, including President Trump. He took aim at Iran during his address to global leaders. The U.S. blames them for recent attacks on Saudi oil facilities. Sanctions against Tehran have been increased, but there has been no military response from the U.S. or Saudi Arabia.
Hoping to free itself from sanctions, the regime has escalated its violent and unprovoked aggression. As long as Iran's menacing behavior continues, sanctions will not be lifted.
The president steered clear of climate change issues. He did highlight what he considers America's economic prosperity, and he repeated his desire to fully secure U.S. borders. A July phone call with Ukraine's president is overshadowing the president's UN address. CBS News has learned President Trump ordered the State Department and Pentagon to withhold hundreds of millions of dollars in military aid to Ukraine. That was days ahead of the phone call with the Ukrainian president, in which President Trump is said to have pressured him to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. The president insists he was not linking military aid to the investigation of his political rival. The controversy surrounding this phone call may be a tipping point in the impeachment process. And looking ahead, country superstar Kenny Chesney is coming back to Milwaukee. He's performing at Miller Park on April 25th as part of his Chalassification Tour 2020. The show opens with performances by Florida Georgia Line and Old Dominion. Pre-sale tickets and VIP packages go on sale Thursday at 10 a.m. General ticket sales begin next Friday, October 4th. And Hollywood is mourning the death of J. Michael Mandel, the Emmy-winning producer who worked on The Simpsons and Rick and Morty. The cause of his death has not yet been confirmed. He helped produce more than 200 episodes of The Simpsons, winning 3 Emmys, and won a 4th Emmy last year for the Adult Swim program Rick and Morty. In a statement, the Adult Swim Network said he guided and supported a generation of artists, writers, and creators, and his absence will be felt by the entire community. Mandel died 2 days short of his 55th birthday. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you've ever snuck a fingerful of cookie dough out of the mixing bowl while no one was looking, make sure you tune in today.
Smart.
Remember growing up and helping Mom make chocolate chip cookies? As soon as she would look the other way, you'd reach into the bowl and grab a fingerful of raw dough. Was that ever good? These days, that's considered a no-no since the batter has raw egg in it. Since we don't want to let that get in the way of our childhood memories, we came up with a cookie dough that's safe to eat and is Mom approved. Just like Mom did, we start by beating some butter and brown sugar together until it's creamy. To that, we add in some flour, a pinch of salt, and a splash of vanilla. Once this comes together, we slowly mix in a couple of tablespoons of milk. And since the best part is the add-ins, we add in some chocolate and peanut butter chips. Of course, if you rather add a chunked up candy bar, nonpareils, or whatever your favorites are, go ahead. Cause now you can eat raw cookie dough without the worry or without getting your hand slapped. Maybe make a batch or two so you can serve it whenever the kids or grandkids want something really fun. To get the recipe, visit our website and type in cookie dough bites. It's that easy. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a very trendy and very tasty way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. You ate half the bowl already.
All right, Howard, thank you. We have an update about that missing Crawford County teenager. Prairie du Chien police say 15-year-old Amber Jean Meng has been found and she is safe. Good news there. Next at noon, warmer out today with highs in the upper 70s, but cooler temperatures are moving in. Chris will have your first alert forecast next. Well, Google gets a win in a right to be forgotten ruling, and Facebook is a step closer to reading your mind with its latest venture. Diane King Hall has your Money Watch report.
Stocks opened higher as investors breathed a sigh of relief that U.S.-China trade talks will resume in 2 weeks. The definite timeline eased worries over the cancellation of a scheduled U.S. farm visit by Chinese delegates. Wall Street is hoping for a breakthrough in the more than year-long trade dispute. Home prices rose in July from a year ago. According to the S&P Case-Shiller Home Prices Index, property values are up 2% on a year-over-year basis, but price increases are slowing. Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Charlotte, North Carolina saw the biggest gains. A win for Google. Today, Europe's top court ruled that its right to be forgotten rule will stop at the border. The decree means EU citizens have the right to ask Google to scrub sensitive personal data from the internet, and the company has to honor the request. But the court's ruling means the removal only applies within the EU bloc. Another status update from Facebook. The social networking site has acquired the startup Control Labs. The company makes brain-machine interfacing equipment, in other words, smart devices, including a wristband that can read your mind. It's not Facebook's first foray into experimental technology. Last year, it was working on a thought-typing system. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrial is down 164 points. The NASDAQ is off 111. The S&P 500 is down 25. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee out of the radio barn today. So here are your farm numbers. Time now for the weather. Chris has your first alert forecast.
Plenty of sunshine out there today. That is certainly some good news after that cold front came through a couple days ago and dried our air out. But we're starting to see at least a little bit more moisture return to the area. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Sky Camera showing you that sunshine. Here are those temperatures though. 75 in Madison right now. Lone Rock at 76. Boscobel, summer-like with temperatures at 80 degrees. This is all thanks to a pretty strong wind that's coming out of the south and west. That strong southwest wind. That's going to be with us as we go through the day. That's ushering in a little bit more moisture as well. So check out these dew points starting to creep up into the upper 50s, but also low 60s, even some mid 60s, especially as you work your way back towards the north and west. If you head towards La Crosse, that's where things are just a little bit more humid out there, but it still feels good compared to how humid things have been. There are no showers and thunderstorms over the state right now, but we're going to be watching that chance for some showers and thunderstorms later on. There's a weak cold front diving in from the north and west. As this continues to slide towards the south and east, we will encounter an environment that has just a little bit more in the way of some instability. So we actually have a severe weather risk that stretches from the UP of Michigan all the way down back towards portions of eastern Nebraska. The greatest threat for severe weather is going to go from Omaha up towards just east of the Twin Cities, say the Eau Claire area. But notice it falls off as you push towards the south and east. The reason for that is timing. This cold front starts to arrive likely after midnight when it comes to those showers and thunderstorms. At that point, you lose the ingredients for those strong storms, and thus we lose that risk for severe weather. But of course, we are going to be watching that timing closely. Expect the sunshine to continue this afternoon, though. Temperatures will warm up a couple more degrees. Here's that chance for showers and thunderstorms. 9:30, you see the storms forming towards the west, but watch what happens as we get further and further towards the east. They begin to fall apart. They're nowhere near as organized as they were originally, because again, we lose those thunderstorm ingredients. But temperatures will cool down into the 60s tonight. Then we'll see some sunshine into your Wednesday. Temperatures only top out around 70. And then we'll be cool Wednesday night headed into Thursday as well. Ultimately, we're watching a push of some cooler air that's going to move in. That's going to keep things more fall-like headed into the weekend. Then early next week, we'll actually get a warm up. But I'm also watching what happens behind that. Perhaps a more impressive push of some cooler air works its way into this part of the country, and that'll help the fall leaves. I've been watching the fall color report, and we're really starting to see more of those colors showing up across the northern part of the state. We peak typically around late September throughout northern Wisconsin. For us down here in Madison, we're going to have to wait till the end of October before we truthfully see that peak in the fall color. But things are nice, folks. The only thing going against us weather-wise seems to be the start of next week with all those rain chances. But for the most part, I think once we get beyond today, we're actually going to feel like fall until about Monday next week.
And then back to summer.
And then back to summer, but then you saw the cold shot that came after that. Yeah, so yeah.
It's that time of the year.
Yes, it is.
All right, Chris, thank you. Up next, Michelle Swader joins us to answer questions about how to make healthy food choices and stay healthy. The number to call, 270-9933. We'll get to your calls right after this. Welcome back. Dietitian Michelle Swader is here to answer your nutrition questions. 270-9933, the number to call. Good to see you again.
You too.
We're going to start by talking about net carbs. Everybody's watching their carbs these days.
Yes, and net carbs is a kind of a new term, and the tricky part about it is there's no real definition. So food companies can kind of use what they want. As a dietitian, I use kind of a conservative definition where you take the total carbohydrates listed on the actual nutrition facts panel and you subtract the fiber. Other food companies might subtract something like the sugar alcohols, and some of those actually do have calories, so you don't want to get too far away from your goal. So the conservative way would just be to look at the fiber.
You say subtract the fiber out. What do you like an example?
Right, so if you've got an apple, you might have 15 grams of carbs in that apple, but you're going to have 2, 3, 4 grams of fiber in that as well. So if you're counting every carb, it might matter that you kind of get that fiber back. And the theory behind that is fiber is something that we get very, very little calories from. And so if people are counting their calories, That way they're not penalized from the healthy, fibrous foods they are eating. It's a way to encourage you to take the apple instead of maybe the brownie for dessert.
So look at the ingredients on the back of the package.
Right. They can really say whatever they want to on the front of the package. So don't be tempted with those. It's really where you get the full story is on the nutrition label on the back.
And it says sugars?
It will say sugars, and sometimes, again, if it's a protein bar company that's trying to advertise, they might put in sugar alcohols. The tricky thing is they might not say which kind of sugar alcohols they have, and there's several types of those.
Okay, I guess I don't read my labels as much as I should. Apparently. All right, let's get to the calls. We'll start with Lee from Linden Station. Hi, Lee.
Hi.
Hi, which question?
I read in a diabetic magazine where eating blueberries will help lower your A1C. And I was wondering if cooking them in like gluten-free pancakes will destroy the integrity of them.
If you're cooking the blueberries, you're not really going to destroy any of the nutrition. Basically, the situation with the blueberries is kind of what we were just talking about, is the blueberries have a lot of fiber, and the fiber can help from preventing a blood sugar spike. Now, if you're having them with pancakes and syrup, you still have the carbohydrates in there, and the blueberries are not going to cancel that out, but it's going to help your blood sugar come down a little bit faster. The fiber's still going to be there whether you cook the blueberries or not, though.
Okay, and there's no carbs in there.
There are carbs in blueberries because blueberry is a fruit, and there's fructose, which is a sugar. But because of the water content and the fiber in fruits, you don't have the same, what we call glucose response in our blood as if we would have something just like the pancakes with the syrup, for example.
All right, let's go to Michelle in Janesville. Hi, Michelle.
Hi. My question is, I have inflammatory bowel disease. What carbs are good for someone who has this?
Well, unfortunately, with IBD, it's a very individualized condition, and a lot of times you have to try some different items to see what's good for you. A lot of times, things that are actually too fibrous can be irritating. So, for example, you might want to have something that is actually like a melon for a fruit, which you're not eating the seed part of that usually, whereas if you go with a blueberry or strawberry, you're going to have a lot more of those seeds and it's going to be more fibrous. So you still want to find the healthy foods, just try to find the things that don't irritate your condition.
All right, we're out of time. If you're on the line, stay there. Michelle will talk to you off the air. We'll see you next time. Chris has one final check of the forecast.
Sunshine does continue going through the rest of this afternoon, so keep that in mind. That chance for showers and thunderstorms should hold off until later on. So maybe your kids have some sort of athletic event that's outdoors. Maybe you just want to have dinner outdoors. I do think you can get that done today. Highs will be around 78, but we are cooler Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Another little spike in temperatures early next week, but by next Thursday, fall is here.
All right, enjoy today. That's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.